So, well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Chat with Dr. Connors. And of course, this is Dr. Connors. I am live in 3 different platforms. And of course, I am live on my podcast on Spreaker.com, Facebook Live, and also on YouTube Live. Can you believe that? And today's discussion is women and politics. All right, it's, we have to tackle this. So yes, again, I am live in different platforms. Live on my YouTube channel with Dr. Connors on YouTube. Chat with Dr. Connors on my podcast. I am on iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you name it. I'm being carried by different platforms. I feel so special. Yes, I'm feeling so special. So, if you haven't already, go to YouTube and just look for Dr. Connors or Chat with Dr. Connors, and please subscribe and like and share. Of course, I'm also on Facebook Live and on Spreaker.com. Okay, so you can actually engage with me, post your questions or chat with me live on YouTube or on Spreaker.com or right here. Because today we are discussing something very, very important to me personally and of course, in our society. Women and politics. So this is just particularly right here in the United States because it has gotten so ugly. Really, really ugly. Women that I have respected all this time, okay, they get engaged in such very confrontational way when they cannot discuss politics, okay, in a very rational way without involving their emotion. So we are getting this like stereotypical, like women, they cannot handle anything without involving their emotion, which is not true. I'm very emotional, but when it comes to trying to discuss something rational, I set aside my emotion. Okay, I'm an artist, of course, after all. I'm very emotional. And also, I'm also Filipino. And Filipinos, or Asian women, they are known for their, for their stereotypical, very irrational, right? Okay, ladies. My fellow women. Okay, it's not so long ago. 100 years ago is not so long ago. Okay, since we were allowed to vote and cast our opinion in the voting areas. Okay, until 1950s, we were stay at home. But during World War II, okay, they have proven, and even World War I, they have proven that the value of women in our society is equal to that of men. What men can do, we can also do. Now, we have proven that by going to war, going to combat, being lawyers and doctors, soldiers, mechanics, you name it. We have proven that. And of course, we cannot also deny, okay, that in the physical sense, men are actually stronger. Okay, thank you, Tammy. We are stronger, of course, in physical sense. Men are stronger. All right, we cannot compete in that. That's why sometimes when you watch movies and you see this tiny Asian woman trying to beat a 6'2", 240 pounds man. Okay, not unless, of course, you have superpower. You can't simply do that, or you're Wonder Woman. You can't do that, all right? All right. So I have tackled this women in politics. Okay, because it is sickening for me to see my fellow women nitpicking fellow women because of their physical appearance, what they're wearing, what they look like. Okay, but not through their accomplishments. It's so degrading for us women. Okay, to look at your fellow women who have accomplished so much, who have worked so hard to be in that category level with men, and then in turn you tear her down because of the way she looks. Okay, and I'm talking about both sides of the aisle. Both sides of the aisle, it's the same. I mean, it's like, I see Nancy Pelosi. I see Amy Barrett, or, it's both sides of the aisle being torn down because of their physical appearance. I mean, look, Nancy Pelosi, I am neither a Democrat or Republican, but Nancy Pelosi has achieved so much in her lifetime. She gets voted into that position because she represents the needs and wants of her constituents. I just want to tell you, when there's something being posted, okay, on Facebook, saying that impeach Nancy Pelosi, I just want to educate you people, okay, that you cannot impeach Nancy Pelosi. You cannot remove her from Congress. It is only her constituent who can remove her from Congress. So, and then, okay, on the other side of the aisle, the way how Melania Trump is being torn down because of her past. All right, first of all, Melania Trump did not intend to be the First Lady of the United States. She was just dragged into it. And I feel so terrible for her because now, okay, and this has nothing to do with politics, just something to do being a woman. I feel so terrible for her because now at her age, okay, her past, the naked photos and everything that she has done in her youth is now being dragged about in public. And now she's being, is she at fault? I mean, look, all she wanted basically is just like, most women, I say most women out there, most women out there, all she wanted was to have a stable and nice life. I mean, we all have our wants and our desires, right? It may be different from one woman to another. Okay, but we should not be so quick in judging other women, fellow women. Okay, I'm not saying that we're going to all sing Kumbaya and lock hands together. But all I'm saying is that we should not be quick to judge. Not just fellow women, but basically everyone. Okay, so here's my gripe. Now I'm going to talk about our politics. Particularly in the United States, because I have lived all over the world. I've lived in third world countries and first world countries, so I travel a little bit. I'm not a spring chicken. So I have experience in my belt, so I have seen the political scene around the world. And I have not seen the ugliness that I see here in the United States. I don't know whether it has been magnified by the fact that we are now so connected through social media. So now everyone has an opinion that everybody, even you are in Timbuktu, you can basically just write down whatever the hell that you're thinking, all right, and then just write it and post it without even thinking about the consequences or the impact that it may have on other people or on particular person, right? So I'm talking about, how friendships and relationships have been destroyed because of our politics. I am so appalled. I am so appalled that we are so quick to pounce on somebody. Sorry, this is live, so you can hear me choking on my own saliva. Don't call 911, I'm okay. I have my water. Okay, so where was I? I'm so appalled that we are so quick to pounce on somebody when someone's differ from their opinion. So I'm going to talk about one instance that happened to me on Facebook. That's why I avoid as much as possible to engage in political debate or discussion, because there's not a discussion. There's always a gushing. You know how many times I've been called an idiot because I happen to disagree with someone's opinion. Okay, I am not going to enumerate what my achievements are. But I could not be an idiot if I have 2 doctoral degrees under my belt. And, it's like we don't have that discussion anymore. It's not a discussion. It is more like insult. If you differ from somebody's opinion, okay, you're an idiot. If your beliefs are different from someone's, there you are, an idiot. So this one particular instance that I'm talking about is I'm talking about a comment. And mind you, when I comment, there's no hatred that is attached to my comments. It is pure fun for me. Like, I laugh at memes and I laugh with all these so many things that are being brought about in social media. It's very entertaining for me. I don't have hatred for anybody in my heart. That is just against my personal belief to harbor in hatred, particularly to someone I don't even know, or I have not even met, or I have no way or chance at all to even meeting them in person, or not even have an impact in my life. So I have met so many people who are so wonderful on social media. But in the last 4 years, the ugliness in people has been unearthed. It just, and it baffles my mind how much ugly there has been among my friends. And these are the very people that I have interaction with in social media. I remember 4 years ago, when I made a comment, okay? I made a comment about Donald Trump. Mind you, I'm a New Yorker. I have been in New York longer than I have been in the UK. I have been in New York longer than I have been, in the Far East. I have been in New York. This is my residence. I consider myself a New Yorker. So, Donald Trump is not new to the scene in New York City, okay? before he became a politician, before he became the president of the United States, he was already the bomb joke of New York City. So for me, when I see something about Donald Trump, it has nothing to do with hatred. He is like a New York institution. It's like it's either you can take him or you cannot take him. It's like living, it's like living in the ghetto. It's like getting used to it. You have to get used to it or get out of the ghetto if you cannot get used to it. Anyhow, so 4 years ago, I jokingly said something, and I was told to go back to where I came from. That was the beginning. That was the beginning of the ugly that I have seen. And all of a sudden, so this particular person, who is now no longer a friend of mine, of course, on Facebook, like telling me to go back where I came from. Now, first of all, I came from my mother's womb. I can't go back. I can't go back to where I came from. Okay, if we are going to be technical about it, we cannot go back. None of us can go back to where we came from. What we don't seem to realize is that this world, all these little boundaries that we recognize, okay, this is the boundary, this is the border, it is not ours. It is not ours to keep. That all these little borders that you're saying, okay, you stay there because you're Mexican, you stay there. Or, because you're Muslim or what have you. None of these mean nothing. Once that we are gone from this side of the earth, mean nothing. We are all going to be equal. We're going to be all equal. And yet, we waste so much time. We waste so much time about berating and denigrating each other. And saying that by saying all these things, we feel better about ourselves, that we are better than the other person. But you know what? In reality, you are no better than the other person. You're not better. Because you happen to live in an industrialized country and the other one lived in the slums of Soweto or Sao Paulo in Brazil. Or let's say in Manila, in the slums there. Or Thailand or across the world, and you live in a palace and someone live in a shack. You're not better. What we have are just different circumstances, different opportunities. But as a human being, no human being is better than the other. When we poke fun of other people because we feel like, oh my gosh, they look different from us, that's not it. Like poking fun of Michelle Obama, calling her an ape in heels. Okay, and then you look at yourself. Okay, what made you think that you are better because of the color of her skin? Let me tell you something. I have so many friends over here who have so much accomplishments. Okay, not in regard to wealth, but in their lives, because with us, no matter how minute our accomplishments are in this world, okay, they are still accomplishments. When somebody asks me, when somebody tells me, do you realize how much accomplishments he has? These are all just something. What about my accomplishments? So because I am not there, I am not in the media all the time, my face is not media. So it doesn't mean that my accomplishments are less than from that someone who's always in the media. So, okay, so going back to that. So, because of that, I have been told that to go back to where I came from and to, just, this is not your country. And, we are, I'm American and you're not. Denver Jack agrees. First of all, what makes this country different from the rest of the world, it's our diversity. When you take a community, a diverse community, they bring out the best. Because you know why? These people bring about different experiences, different culture, and just different everything. Okay, by putting that all together, that's when you get the flavor. Okay? You cannot just have, if you're just eating mashed potato without anything, what does it taste like? It tastes like paper, right? So you need to have the condiments. It is the same thing. It is the same thing in communities. Diversity brings progress. Diversity brings the best in us all. Now, secondly, that's my dog. This is what happens when you're broadcasting from my home office. Okay, now secondly. So now we're talking about, when we are talking about politics. It is so ugly. Particularly in this country. In the United States, it's just very, very ugly. And I am so discouraged and so disappointed. And sometimes it hits me personally. How we have become so enamored with ugliness that it's like it has become a second nature to us. And, we cannot even have, there's no discussion. There is no adult discussion. It's just like watching children. Only this time, these are adults, so-called adults, in a playground, all right, trying to bully each other. And then one thing also that I notice is that, people don't value their friendship when it comes now to their politics and beliefs. And all of a sudden, the friendship that you have formed over the years, it's gone. Because now, there's so much love. There's so much love for our politicians. Okay, rather than love for the country, and rather love also, okay, for the common goal. So it really is. I'm really having difficulty. I'm really having a tough time understanding what is going on in our society. There's no camaraderie. It's like there's so much division. It's like, a person that you know for a long time, that you have interacted for a long time. All of a sudden, you have become enemies. because you happen to disagree to their political beliefs onto their whatever beliefs they have. You know, like women are defending their politicians like they are married, or they're married, or they're lovers. Okay, it's not. You know what it is like, it is not a secret. Okay, it's not a secret that I dislike Donald Trump. It's not a secret. Okay, but it's not the Republican that I dislike. It is him. It is the fact that when he likes everybody, it doesn't matter who that person is, as long as they like him. It's the fact that he is supposed to be the leader of all Americans. Okay, but he is only the leader of those people who support him. You know, that's one thing that I don't like. Okay, it's not about that. It's like, you know, oh, I don't care the accomplishments. Oh, he has done so much. Is that the... You know what it is? It's like, bring about the people. Bring about the people. Like, reach out to the other part of... and it's vice versa. I'm not just talking about the Republican Party. I'm not just talking about that. But do not personalize your relationships with your constituent, your people. You know, whether you are a Democrat or Republican, you know, you are still the president of all Americans. Not just the Americans who support you. And those people also, you know, I know that there are a lot of people, I mean, who just have utter disrespect and contempt, you know, over him. I mean, we have to remember that regardless of who he is, of how he is, he's still our president. You know, he's still the leader of the United States. So even though just a little bit of ounce of respect, I know that you say that respect is earned. I think we should. It has changed so much. And then whenever, you know, you ask somebody, it's like, oh, why do you support him? Oh, because he speaks my language. Well, I don't want my president to sound like Joe the mechanic around the corner. You know, that's all I'm saying. I mean, I have no, you know, I still, even though, you know, it's like he acts in a very boorish way, I still support him. I mean, you know, he is, after all, the president of the United States. You know, he still deserves that. He still at least deserves that. You know, if you don't respect him, at least respect, okay, the chair that he represents. So, that's my take on that. However, you know, if you're a leader, you should be a leader for everyone, not just for those who support you and who chant your name. You should be a leader in every way. You should have the dedication to your country first, and to your people. You know, and last, your needs. That's my take on that. And for those of you women, you know, who's defending him, okay, and who's defending him despite of his very misogyny and sexism and so divisiveness, defending him like he's your lover. I mean, come on, snap out of that. It's only politics. It's only politics. I respect your political beliefs. I respect everyone's political beliefs. What I have learned to realize is that the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, they have more similarities than differences. It's at the end of the day, okay, is like they want to be in office, and most of their agenda, I don't know whether they are even achieved in the first term. You have to be a career politician in order to achieve all your promises, because it cannot be achieved in one term. So anyway, and then all these posts about women in politics, how we denigrate them. I mean, and the things that we say about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I mean, look, most of these women who are saying a lot of things about this young lady, because she is young. Okay, we have lived our generation. This is her generation. Okay, this is her generation. We have passed our generation. Allow her to serve her generation. Allow her to serve. You know, it's not affecting you people. I mean, it's like a lot, you know, like, yeah, some of her ideas are a little walked up. You know, for our standard, in my generation standard, yes, it's a little bit, oh, yes, so much entitlement. Unfortunately, regardless of what we believe, okay, I believe that the goal, I mean, in order for us to achieve and to save whatever we're trying to save, we're saving our planet, right? We're saving, I said, look, for those of you who have children, you should think about that. You know, with me, once I'm done, I'm gone. I don't have enough offsprings that I should worry about. So I think that when we see women, young women, who are trying to fight for the rights and for the planet, for the environment, I think that we should support them and not curtail them. Now, those of you 60-year-old, 70-year-old women out there, you bloody have lived your life and you had your fun. Okay, it's support those. How much long do you have? 10 years? You have grandchildren, great-grandchildren. Think about them. Think about the future. Vote for the politicians who's going to think about the future, who's going to save the planet, who's going to work to make sure that this planet is still livable. By the time that your grandchildren are in their 20s or 30s, you're not going to live, if you are in your 70s, not 70s or 60s. You don't have 30 years under your belt. And even if you do, by the time that you're 100 years old, you're not that functional. Yeah, it's hurtful. I know. You know, just allow the next generation to, you know, to save or to work hard or to, you know, try to save at least whatever it is that is still worth saving. And you know what is worth saving? The environment. So we women, okay, we have a say about that. We need to form our strength and say that we demand clean environment. We demand that the oceans be clean. We demand that trees shouldn't be cut. We demand to preserve. whatever wilderness that animals roam around, we demand that. Because you know what happens, like, you know, we have our voices. We are women, are the carrier of the future society. We have bigger voices than you think. We should not just like stay away and, you know, and leave it to our politicians. You know, the older politicians, they need to retire. We need to have this generation to lead us to the next generation. You know, if we keep, I'm not saying that we should just retire all our olds. Yes, we still need them. We need, you know, they need to retire. We need to take care of them. They have led us to this now, to our future, to our present. Now allow the young generation now to lead us to the future, and vice versa. Ooh. I know. I know I have a lot of things to say, and I get very animated. I get very animated when it comes to that. Because I still think that we can do so much more if we unite. We can do so much more if we extend understanding and tolerance. We can do so much more. You know, if we just set aside our differences and try to focus on a common goal. What is the common goal? To have a better life, right? You know, Greta Thunberg, for example. This is a very young lady who's trying to preserve her future. And the mockery that she has gotten, you know, from you old fogies and old farts out there. You know, and old hags, my fellow old hags out there. It was disgusting. It was disgusting to read the anti-Greta Thunberg. And all the child is doing is trying to preserve a future for her generation. Okay, because I kid you not, in the 70s, in the 80s, nobody gave a shit about the environment. Look at you, those generation who grew up in the 80s with your high hair and the aerosol. You were responsible in a big ozone hole because of your high hair. Go back to your photos from when you were in high school in the 1980s. You know, I did not have high hair because I couldn't afford a hairspray. I couldn't afford it. I didn't have to tease it. You know, my hairstyle has not changed until I got the cancer 2 years ago when I lost all my hair. So, from chemotherapy. So now, here I am, you know, I have long hair again, but I don't really put anything on my hair. So anyway, so going back. The 80s, the 70s, nobody gave a shit about the environment. We have produced so much rubbish. We have polluted the environment. From all these constant wants and needs. Everything became disposable. Everything. You know, and we poke fun of the third world countries. You know, I'll tell you. You know, when I was living in the third world country, everything was recycled. Okay, when my Nana was living with me right here in the New York City metropolitan area, she recycled everything. Plastic jars and glass jars. She used it as, as a glass for water. So I had so much glass jars and my pantry when my grandmother was here. And she told me, like, I didn't have to buy anything because we can use what we have already. So, and it's not hoarding. It's from the world where there's not a lot, where there's no excess. Because over here in the United States, we live in excess. And now it's like, okay, my computer's not working. Okay, they cannot fix that. Throw it away, buy a new one. Oh, my vacuum cleaner isn't working. You cannot even find anymore a repair shop. Because it's easier, it is cheaper. It is cheaper to buy a new one than to have it repaired. I know that. Because my washing machine broke down. And I tried to, so I called for somebody to have it fixed. The charges to fix the washing machine was actually equal to buying a new washing machine. So that's what we have. That's what we are right now. We are a disposable society. Everything is disposable. That's my dog trying to say his say. Everything is disposable. It's the same thing in relationship. Nobody wants to work on a relationship anymore. If it's not working, guess what? You know what? It's not working. Goodbye. Nobody wants to work in a relationship. Because it's easier. We don't want to be inconvenienced. We don't want to be inconvenienced by anything at all. All we want that easy, that it's the same thing in dating. It's like we have all this dating app. The first thing, I tell you, I'm talking about from experience. It's like, a person is like, has so many dates in one day because just in case it doesn't work with the first one, he can always go, or she can always go to the next one. We have become a disposable society. We dispose of everything. Like I drive around sometimes during rubbish day. And you see still good furniture being thrown on the pavement. And like, oh my goodness, like you're throwing is this good furniture on the pavement. That if I had a bigger car, I would have picked up the furniture, right? See, I'm not afraid or I'm not ashamed to say that I do pick up rubbish and I refurbish them. I am the type of a person who's going to turn an old one into a new one. I'm very handy. And it's the same what I did with my garden. Where people thought that I have spent so much money. Well, I don't have a lot of money. I don't have money. And what I did, I spent so much time going from people's home, trying to collect the refuse so that I can turn it into a beautiful piece of art. So that's what I did. That's exactly what I did with my garden. I took a lot of your refuse, and turned it into a form of art. And now, if we can just do that, rather than buying everything new and discarding everything, that we don't like, there's going to be less and less garbage, in landfills. Like there's a big landfill in New Jersey that I have always thought it was a mountain because it's filled with grass. And every time I pass by, I'm very, very curious about it. So, of course, I investigated, and it's a landfill. And then I watched this documentary about how much plastics are there in the ocean bed. That is basically saying that majority of the ocean bed is filled with plastics. And yet we don't believe in these. We still produce a lot of rubbish. Look, I am very, I'm guilty. I'm guilty of that. I produce a lot of rubbish too. But I try very, very hard not to produce a lot. I try very hard to have less and less garbage. We buy so much clothes, and if we wear our clothes, we throw it away or we give it away. When it's going to... What I have done... Okay, not everybody can do this. Is that, what I have done so far? I do actually recycle my clothes. I reinvent them so that they would look new. Okay, to bring them up to date into this into the present fashion. I am not out there to impress anyone anymore. I'm not in my 20s. I've done so much. Like, no, I'm done impressing. You take me. You take me for who I am. Okay, I don't care to impress anybody, or I'm not there to be impressed. You know what impresses me? I get impressed by the goodness of the heart of the person. Genuinely. Those people who actually do things without making a list of the good things that they have done in life. Because, there are people like that. There are people who document everything that they do, all the goodness that they do in life. When they're trying to help somebody, they have that camera like, oh, hello, I found this homeless person, and I decided to bring him a piece of bread. And I decided to bring them. It's all well and good. But what I find disturbing is that we lack the sensitivity to put that person right in front of the camera for the world to see. Okay, they still have dignity and integrity. They don't want to be in the camera. They don't want to be seen. To be seen around the world. Plastered that in that condition. I know that I wouldn't. When I'm struggling so much, I don't go out. I don't want people to know that I'm struggling so much. But instead, I put my best foot forward and try to overcome whatever it is that's putting me down. So that I can put this, possibility and somehow encourage others. Okay, that regardless of how shitty your life is, life is still beautiful. And so I do have an issue with that, when we're on with our camera. We do a little thing for the homeless person or somebody who's poor. Okay. We do a little thing like that because we did so much good. And then we keep a running Excel spreadsheet of what we have done. Okay, and then there's like abortion, about this, abortion. I also have issues with old men trying to say that abortion, let me tell you something about abortion. I am pro-choice, okay? So these are all women politics that I'm trying to tackle. I am pro-choice. It means, it doesn't mean that I'm pro-abortion. I don't believe in abortion, not unless, of course, it threatens the life of the mother or the baby. So I'm going to tell you a personal story. Many months ago, in my first marriage, I got pregnant. And what happened was I had an ectopic pregnancy. So it was in my ectopic pregnancy means it was outside the womb. It was in my fallopian tube. Twins, both fallopian tubes, I had that. One fetus was alive and it was in my right fallopian tube and it could be transferred into my womb. However, by doing that, it would have put my life in peril. So I had to make the decision, well, at least my ex-husband then had to make the decision that to terminate the pregnancy, because even though they could transfer that, it would mean that I would bleed, would probably, my life would probably be in peril. So that was there then. So yeah, if that's considered an abortion, yes. So my ex-husband chose me over the baby, because they said that even if I carried the baby into term, it would still put my life in danger. So did I want that to happen? I mean, like, yeah. You know, if I would have, if the doctors would have asked me, I would probably said, you know what, I have lived 20 years or 21 years of my life, I want to give opportunity to that baby. That would have been my choice. But of course I wasn't, but my ex-husband chose me. And you know what he said? He said, as much as I would like to have a child, I have not even met that child yet. And yet I'm going to lose, I have the possibility, a greater possibility, of losing my wife, of whom I have been with for a long time, over a fetus, over a baby, of whom I haven't met yet. Without the mother, I would not know how to raise that baby, so he chose me. So anyway, so these are the difficult choices that people, like sometimes couples, have to choose, or presented to them. So it is not immoral. It has nothing to do with immorality or murder. But it's something to do with trying to save someone's life. You have to sacrifice one thing in order to save someone's life. It's the same thing like in experiments. In all medication experiments, you have to sacrifice one for the betterment of the greater good. If one person can save 1 million, you have to sacrifice that one person. That is how it's done. If that person, can save, again, then it's okay. It's not okay. It is actually a very tragic choice that you have to make. But it has to be done. So you have to understand that, and not just blindly putting this lavish claim that, abortion is murder. But there are circumstances behind these. Yes, I'm talking about these bloody old men who are trying to decide for the women. I tell you this, if you have not experienced to be pregnant, I will not allow you to have a say over my body. So that's all I'm saying, guys. It's like, that's why when I see this abortion, it's like pro-life, and yet you're not doing a bloody thing about starving children. I tell you that there are over 20,000 children die daily. Maybe 23,000 die daily around the world from starvation. And yet in America, we are so concerned about the unborn child. Trying to control the women. And it's like majority of these people in legislature are old men. who basically don't even know anything about how it is to be a woman until you get pregnant, until you experience the feeling of cramping, that monthly cramps, the menstrual cramps. Don't tell me what to do with my body. So it's this. It's like, it's time. It is time. We are not in the medieval period anymore, where men have to decide for women. I know that some parts of the world are still like that, but it has to end. It has to end. There should not be gender biases that men are greater than women. It has been proven time and again that with the help of both genders, we can improve society. We just don't belong in the kitchen anymore. We belong in research. We belong in combat. We belong in the minefield. We belong everywhere. And for those of you women who still believe, that your place is in the kitchen, then stay there. I don't want to know you. Stay there. For those of you women who think that it's okay to be sexually harassed, and it's okay to be put in that stereotypical brackets, I don't want to know you. It's in my personal life, it is who I am that actually put me to this struggling position, because you know why? I don't conform. I'm not a conformist. I speak my mind, I speak my voice, and I'm very honest about it. And one thing that I don't like confrontation, and I think that's actually one of my flaws. Many flaws. Yes, I'm flawed. I don't like confrontation. I'm working on it. Maybe it's better if you just confront somebody, but I try to avoid as much as possible to have confrontation. So in order to preserve peace, it's like I keep quiet and I said, okay, whatever. But it's not always a good way to resolve conflict. It is not. You have to voice out. So, my fellow women, please, stop it. Stop with that irrational, with that, drama. Defending people that defending a man that you don't even know. Come on, it's just politics. Think of your friends. Oh my God, I just can't believe it. Do you think that the person or whoever the politicians that you are supporting, do you think that he's gonna be there and call your ass? When you are having an emotional breakdown? Who's gonna be there? It's your friend. So set aside your differences. Have a discussion, an open discussion, rather than trying to belittle each other. Okay, set aside and find a common ground. So, all right, everybody. As always, thank you so very much for tuning in. Again, if you are on YouTube, please subscribe to my channel, Dr. Connors. Subscribe and share. I'm on my Facebook, of course, Allyson Strathmore or Dr. Connors, and on Spreaker.com and Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio, and I'm going to put a link on my in my Facebook page. So thank you all so very much for tuning in. And next time, I mean, it's like, when you can interact actually with me. You can post your question. You want to discuss about something. Do so. Everything is worth discussing. So actually, this Women in Politics, it was actually posted by a friend of mine. Can you discuss women in politics? What's going on. So anyway, thank you also very much for tuning in, and until next time. Again, thank you. This has been Chat with Dr. Connors, and of course, this is Dr. Connors. Thank you all very much, and have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.